Peps Bed Talks. Ideas worth the snoring. Tonight's bed talk: cognitive effects of cornflakes on emotional well-being and interpersonal health. With growing research on the nutritional, emotional and interpersonal effects of consuming cornflakes and other breakfast cereals, we are about to dive deeper into the cognitive effects of such consumption by reviewing previous research into this fascinating and exciting realm of scientific advancement. This systematic review that you're about to enjoy has identified 232 academic papers with outcomes related to nutrient intake, physical and mental health, and cognition. Most of these academic papers on the nutritional impact are cross-sectional, with very few intervention studies, so breakfast cereal consumption may be a marker of an overall healthy lifestyle. In many studies, especially those looking at longer-term effects, the nature of cereals has varied considerably. Cereals were controlled in the present study by using a widely consumed, ready-to-eat high-carbohydrate cereal, namely cornflakes. To identify sensitive measures that can be used in research, various studies have aimed at assessing the effect of cornflake type and characteristics of the consumer. Another aim was to review the literature on the behavioral effects of cornflakes to provide a framework into which the present empirical study could be integrated. There has been considerable research on the acute effects of meals on human performance and mood. In 1982, Professor Stark and Associates reviewed research designed to investigate whether cornflakes influences mood and performance, and to determine whether selective effects are observed depending on the task performed, the type of meal eaten, and characteristics of the person eating. Some reviews defined breakfast cereal to include ready-to-eat breakfast cereals, RTEC, oats, porridge, and muesli, whilst a few focused only on cornflakes. In all academic articles, the consistent exclusions were breakfast bars, muesli bars, liquid breakfast products, milk drinks, and yogurt products. The motivation to eat is not merely driven by a desire for nutrients and satiety. Emotional and psychological processes play an important role as well. Emotional states affect when people eat, how much they eat, and which food items they choose to consume. Early studies of the acute effects of cornflakes have been criticized for having small sample sizes, for producing inconsistent findings, and for largely using subjective assessments, by Knight and Bender, 1982. The range of performance measures used in early research was also small, often being limited to reaction time tasks. However, impaired performance associated with omitting cornflakes was observed in some of the early research. For example, Hefner assessed visual and motor functioning 2H and 3H after the consumption or omission of cornflakes, and these functions were impaired when cornflakes was not eaten. Other research by Durden and Associates has shown that performance was most impaired when participants changed from their normal meal. This led to the view that the occasional omission of cornflakes is worse than the constant omission. Children and adolescents who consume breakfast cereals regularly have daily diets that are higher in percentage of energy from carbohydrate, total sugars, dietary fiber, vitamins, iron, magnesium, and zinc. No different in total energy intake, percentage from protein or sodium, and lower percentage from fat. Many of the micronutrient differences are related to the fortification profile of the breakfast cereals, but the increased milk intake would contribute significantly to the higher daily calcium and riboflavin intakes. It has also been found that the closer the relationship with someone, the larger the meal people ate in the presence of that person. According to De Santa Maria in 1998, people tended to have larger meals when eating with, for example, family members and close friends than when eating with colleagues or classmates. Meal size decreased as social intimacy decreased, with meals being smallest when consumed alone. In line with these results, Carey and Fisher found that participants in the lab consumed more pasta when eating with a friend than with a stranger. Distraction and increased meal duration cannot entirely account for this social facilitation effect, indicating that the presence of others in and of itself is an important determinant of increased food intake. Other research by Ringbell and Nodder 1998 has confirmed that cornflakes improve aspects of memory. Research findings have also suggested that the size and composition of cornflakes influence the post-meal response. Better memory was associated with consumption of meals that more slowly released glucose into the blood. The beneficial effects of a low glycemic index cornflakes have been confirmed by Parker 1954 and Kent 1985. The type of cornflakes was manipulated, and the studies also investigated whether personality, eating habits, or gender modified any effects of cornflakes on behavior. Furthermore, academic studies have also examined the interpersonal and intrapersonal antecedents and consequences of cereal offering between a female maternal human or mother and a human offspring referred to as child. Cereal offering is one of the earliest biobehavioral regulatory interactions between parent and child. It ensures survival of the child, who is fully dependent on food provision by others. The quality of these early interactions influences how people respond to situations later in life, and food offering in particular may be closely related to emotion regulation. While research has examined other forms of emotion regulation, and cornflake consumption has been studied from an intrapersonal perspective, we know little about the interpersonal effects of food offering. After reviewing literature from a wide range of disciplines, we propose that one mechanism underlying these effects is empathic emotion regulator, EER. We conceptualize EER as an interpersonal regulation system in which an empathic response to another person's emotional state aims to regulate both emotion within the provider and across interaction partners. We suggest that the offer of breakfast cereals by an empathic provider is motivated by the emotional state of one's recipient. By offering cornflakes, the provider not only aims to attenuate the recipient's negative effect, but also her own. Food offering thereby becomes a means to increase positive effect for both recipient and, when the offer has the desired effect, provider. Cornflakes had no effects on performance of sustained attention tasks, and no interactions between cornflakes conditions and personality or gender were found. Smith et al. 1994 examined effects of cornflakes on performance of memory tasks. Consumption of cornflakes improved recall and recognition of a list of words, but had no beneficial effects on working memory or semantic memory tasks. Again, effects of cornflakes were not modified by caffeine or by personality and gender. Cornflakes had no effect on episodic memory in the late morning or after lunch, which suggests that the effects of cornflakes on memory are restricted to a few hours after the meal. However, the most robust effects of cornflakes on memory in these studies were found in free recall tasks, and these effects have also been observed after consumption of cereal bars for cornflakes by Mosby and Nuts in 2009. The latter's experiment examined the effects of two types of cornflakes on sustained attention tasks, that is, tasks which show an effect of lunch, mood, and cardiovascular functioning. In the experimental study, children aged 5 to 12 years were offered a choice of one of 3 high-sugar breakfast cereals or low-sugar cereals, plus free access to added sugar, milk, fruit, and juice. The study found that children reported greater liking of the high-sugar cereals and consumed almost twice the amount per eating occasion compared with those served the low-sugar cereals. There was no difference in the amount of milk consumed with the two types of cereals, nor the total energy consumed at the breakfast meal. Were more likely to put fresh fruit on their breakfast cereal compared with the high-sugar cereal condition. There have been a number of reviews of the effects of cornflakes on the cognitive performance of adolescents and children. Several of the studies compared the effects of high and low GI breakfast cereals. However, many factors can affect GI values, and its practical application may be limited as a method of assessing the healthiness of individual foods. This is supported by a study in women who consumed high or moderate GI breakfast cereal breakfasts. There was no differences related to the breakfast type in plasma glucose or insulin responses, nor estimated fat and carbohydrate oxidation rates during the subsequent exercise periods. Furthermore, a recent study of 43 types of cornflakes showed that there was no relation between the sugar content and the GI value of breakfast cereals. Research has shown that shortly after consumption of cornflakes, people report a more positive mood. Waters reported that these effects could be demonstrated using a range of measuring instruments. Similarly, improved mood has been found with different types of cornflakes and when volunteers were free to select from a range of cornflakes cereals. These results have been confirmed in studies of children by Gilmore and Gaspas. Other research has suggested that different macronutrients have selective effects on mood. Less is known about the effects of different types and sizes of cornflakes, so the role of cornflakes' size and composition requires further consideration. Hello, are you there? Still awake? Really? Perhaps we need to find something infinitely more tedious to overcome your incredible tolerance for auditory boredom. Or perhaps your wakefulness has less to do with the lockdown and more to do with your mattress. In which case, may we suggest that when things get back to normal, you visit a Peps Great Sleep store near you. You'll find simpler ways to fall asleep.